My fiancé wants us to keep our last names and give our kids her last name because she's the mother, but she won't even let me take her last name, and now I'm feeling left out of my future family since she refuses to explain further. A few weeks ago my fiancé, 27F, and I, 28M, were talking about our wedding, which is scheduled for June of next year, and our honeymoon. At one point I jokingly said something to the effect of "we'll see about that, future Mrs., my last name," and she visibly cringed. She told me she isn't going to be Mrs., my last name, and I said okay, then I'll be Mr., her last name, because I don't really care if she takes my name or I take hers. I just want to share one. She said no, I'm keeping my name and you can keep yours. I asked who our future kids would be named after. She said her because she's the mother. So I'd be the odd one out. Edit to add, I should have clarified this, but she's also opposed to hyphenating. She's adamant we should each keep our own last names and any future kids will only have hers. For context, I grew up in foster care after both my parents died. I didn't have any other biological family, so I was bounced around from home to home from the ages of 5 to 18, when I aged out. I never felt welcome in any of those foster homes and never felt like I had a real family. I always swore I'd have a real family one day though. So naturally I want to share a last name with my wife and our kids. I truly don't care what name. Mine, hers, a new one we both choose, it doesn't matter to me. I just want a real family that I feel connected to. We've been dating for 3 years and engaged for almost 5 months, and this is the first time she's said she doesn't want to share a name. Previously she never said anything when I called her the future Mrs., my last name, so either this is new or she's been holding it in. I've tried to talk to her about why she doesn't want either of us to change our last name, but she doesn't want to discuss it further and I'm at a loss as to what to do. Would it be an overreaction to break up over this since she won't talk to me about her reasons? She's acting like everything is normal, so I don't know what to think. Commenter. Why is she so opposed to it? Has she said? It's something very important to you. Is it important enough that it could end a relationship that would otherwise be headed to marriage? I don't think you are overreacting at all, your feelings are completely valid. She may not want to talk about it anymore, but she is going to have to if she wants the relationship to work. In the end, only you know what your deal breakers are. OP, she won't tell me. When I ask, she says she won't discuss it further and stops speaking unless I change the subject. Commenter 2. Tell her you'd like to change your name and why. She may not realize the reason for it and may be projecting her desire to maintain her name on you. If she can't hear you and understand how hurt you are, I'd be second guessing too. Since you aren't imposing a change on her, it's worth a discussion. Update 1. Here's an update to my post from yesterday. I'm still processing everything, so I may not reply to comments right away. We met up at a park today. I asked her late last night if she could meet me to talk about something, and she immediately agreed because it seems she thought it was about the wedding. My friend was with me, but waited in my car so he wouldn't be spotted. But I did decide to turn on the voice recorder on my phone because in the past she's manipulated her telling of certain situations to make it seem like she's blameless. I overlooked it before, because I thought she was just used to getting her way. Now I realize that was a mistake on my part. So I got there early and walked around for a few minutes before meeting up with her in a picnic area. I asked her to sit down with me because I needed to ask her some very important questions about our future. I told her I needed answers and I needed her to give me enough respect as a human to not walk away when I'm trying to talk. I started by explaining again how I've never felt like I was part of a real family, not since I lost my parents anyway, and how important it is to me that I feel that connection to my wife and kids. It may seem like a small thing to most, but to me it's huge. I've lived most of my life feeling like I'm completely alone. She told me she knows how hard my life has been and now I have her, so I'm not alone anymore. Then I asked her if she could please explain to me exactly why she is so vehemently against us having the same last name, if she acknowledges that she knows how important it is to me that I share a name with my wife and kids so I feel like I'm in a real family and not an outsider. I reminded her that I don't expect her to take my name, and I'm more than willing to take hers, hyphenate, or come up with something completely different. I just want to share a name with my wife and kids so we're all one family unit. Her response to that was surprising. She rolled her eyes and told me it's so cringy when people have the same last name after they get married. That was her sole reason for us not sharing a name. I asked her to elaborate on that. She went into a whole rant about how she thinks it's cheesy when she meets a couple and they introduce themselves as the underscores and that it makes her want to throw up when she hears it, and so many other ways it makes her angry. When I brought up the fact that her parents have the same last name because they're married, she said that's different and I wouldn't understand because of being an orphan, which really threw me. Long story short, I let her know that I need some time to myself to really think things over and decide how I want to move forward. I asked her to give me time and I would let her know when I'm ready to talk. She didn't like hearing that, but I told her I needed to leave. So now I'm at home, thinking about everything and wondering how to move on. I know the relationship is over, but I haven't made the breakup official yet. It's going to hurt for a long time, but I know what I need to do for my own mental health. I can compromise on some things, but I can't be with someone who won't also compromise. Her belongings are still packed up and my friend has offered to drop them off once I end things with her. Luckily I live in a gated condo community, so once I take her name off the approved visitors list she won't be able to come to my house. I know she won't react well when I tell her we're over. That's all. I'm going to take some time for myself and try to get over everything. Ending an engagement is tough and I don't wish this heartbreak on anyone. Thanks for the support from all your strangers out there. If I have any other updates on my situation, I'll probably post them to my profile so I don't take up space on the subreddit. Commenter 1. She seriously tried weaponizing the very reason that you want to have the same last name as your spouse/kids when trying to tell you why you wouldn't understand why her parents sharing a last name isn't cringy, but other couples are? Seriously, I'd say she doesn't deserve a discussion for the breakup. Write a letter, put it in her box of crap, and have the friend leave it at her door. Unless the ring is an heirloom and you want it back, of course. In that case, make sure you get it away from the witch. Commenter 2. She still doesn't make sense anyway, because how are her parents, a married couple sharing the same last name, any different than any other married couple sharing the same last name? I'm sure if Op had pressed her to define how it's different for them, she would have come back with the airtight argument, it just is. Op should let them know apparently their daughter thinks they're the only married people out there who aren't cringy for doing what most married couples do. There is literally no logic to her argument, just some odd sentimental pass for her parents but no one else. She has no empathy for her fiancé whatsoever. Update 2. This will be the final update, I hope, to my relationship issue. A lot of people asked for a resolution, so I thought I'd give one to those interested. I went to work on Monday and my boss could tell I was depressed, so she asked me what was going on. I explained everything I had on my mind and the conversation I had to have over the weekend. She asked me if I wanted a distraction from everything and offered to have me accompany her and her husband, co-owners of the company I work for, on a short trip to meet with some potential clients. I would be working on the project anyway, so she thought it might be good to have me in the meetings, especially if I needed to get out of town. So early Tuesday morning the three of us left for the meetings. We were busy all afternoon and part of the evening, so I wasn't checking my personal cell. At 10 p.m. I saw that I had a lot of missed calls and texts from my fiancé. By a lot I mean over 50 texts and 19 missed calls since that morning. It seems she went to my condo and when security wouldn't let her in, since I took her off my list of approved visitors, she flipped out. So she started calling and texting me. Then she started trying to contact our mutual friends and her family, none of whom knew where I was either. Her last-ditch effort to get me to answer her was to threaten to call the police and say she hadn't seen me in days and was worried I was suicidal. And when I didn't answer right away, she went through with that plan. The police were allowed to enter the condo community, and when I didn't answer my door they couldn't do anything else and left. This didn't please my fiancé and she kept calling and texting. When I saw the calls and messages, I sent one text in reply that only said I'm on a work trip until Thursday. Please respect my need for time to think about everything. We will talk when I get home. Then I ignored everything from her for the rest of the week while I was away. Fast forward to Thursday evening, we land back in the city and I drove home, wanting to go to bed and sleep in the next day since I was given the day off. I guess she was lurking nearby because I was told later she tried to follow me into the gate but was stopped by security since she never scanned a parking pass. That's when she started blowing up my phone again. I texted back one more time to tell her to give me space and we would talk later, then showered and went to sleep. By Friday morning I had 73 more texts and 32 missed calls. At that point I knew I had to just end things with her sooner rather than later so I could get some peace. Long story made short, as of yesterday afternoon, I've ended the engagement. I took the same friend who was nearby last weekend, so I'd have a witness in case she did anything. She refuses to give the ring back because she thinks I'll come to my senses soon and she'll keep it until then. I don't even care. She can have it. Her friends and family started calling me within 15 minutes of me ending things. I've blocked them all since they're being nasty to me and blaming me for it all. Judging by what they're saying, it seems like she made up a story about me having a mental health crisis and wanting to be alone. Again, I don't even care. My good friends were told what happened when my friend sent out a text with a brief explanation. I hope she leaves me alone so I can heal from everything over time. I'm just so emotionally exhausted. Commenter 1. I think she loves having control and getting to have everything her own way far more than she ever loved Op. Commenter 2. You've been more than reasonable with her on this issue. You even offered to take her name if she didn't want yours. You thoroughly explained why sharing a name was very important to you. She instead chose to ignore all of that and drew her line in the sand. I don't know what she was expecting. Honestly, it sounds like you dodged a bullet if you hadn't had this argument and went through with your plan for marriage. It appears she had very little, if any, respect or consideration for you. Glad you are free of her now and can finally have some peace.